Well, it is the union version of do as we say, not as we do, because unions say fast food workers should demand and get massive wage hikes. But when it comes to their own survival, unions are perfectly happy doing something else. The UAW is pushing a plan to hire thousands of new auto workers at a much lower wage to protect union jobs. But wait a minute, isn't that the same argument that fast food owners have been using? A two-tiered pay structure for younger, less experienced workers, so at least they can keep their jobs. So talk about a piece of work at a double standard. Charles Payne, what do you think?
I agree 1,000%, Neil, but this is not necessarily new either. Listen, you know, the unions are the reason. One of the reasons they've crumbled with respect as the percentage of the total workforce is because of these kind of policies. They're in it for themselves 100%, and the whole hierarchy, the seniority kind of thing, it's really discouraging. We saw it a lot during the throes of the Great Recession when certain police departments wouldn't hire young cops because older cops had to get everything. They had to get all the largesse, and that's the way the unions work. And we see it with union dues, and we see it across the board over and over again, where the things that they are sort of worried about or they preach, they're actually practicing.
You know, I have no problem with this UAW position. I think it's fine, Dagan.
Oh, no.
But then don't lecture others what to do when, in fact, you know it makes very good business sense. Overall, if you want to protect and keep jobs, let's say union jobs, this protects everyone rather than shoving others out the door.
It's about building the number of people in the UAW, period. It's recovered in the last 6 years, but extremely slowly. What UAW membership's like 400,000. It was 1.5 million people in the late 70s. It's about adding numbers of union workers and collecting the dues, and it fills the coffers so they can donate to Democratic causes.
And push people on protest lines.
Are you going to mention my dad was in a union?
Really? Let me put that down. All right. Well, what do you make of this? I have no problem with that policy. I just think you got to own it to Dagan's.
But they're doing something really good here. I mean, I think they should be commended. I mean, for once, they're saying, listen, the free market says we have to have, you shouldn't treat the common labor, the guy that's learning the craft, as much,
then
paid
follow
as much
through.
as the guy. And,
right? Follow through.
What makes, so why are you suggesting they're not?
Because seeing how they're pushing these fast food workers to demand double. Well, I understand it, but I'm saying it's an example of a union. Sending a mixed message.
You about unions because I'm a union guy. There are different unions in this country.
You don't think that the Service Workers Union advocates the same thing?
Yeah, no, they're different. There are different unions that have different policies. Capiche?
Okay. You were saying, careful what you're saying here. So if the Service Workers Union advocated the exact same thing, this is a union advocating a policy that it finds abhorrent in others. If the Service Workers Union advocated the same thing, would you call them on their hypocrisy?
Of course, but what I'm saying is not all unions are alike. Different unions have, because that's the nature of the union movement. Capiche?
Okay, here we go. Adam, what do you think of that? Because I think Charlie Gasparino's trying to have it both ways. Capiche? But what do you say?
And get all ethnic on you at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Well, I find it very uncomfortable when I have to follow him when he says what I'm going to say, and furthermore, I have to agree with him. I would make the point, unions aren't monolithic any more than liberals or conservatives are monolithic. There's no one voice.
I think it's fair to say that, I think it's fair to say they kind of preach from the same choir. I mean, that's fair to say.
I think so, too.
True. That's true. To some extent. But the UAW has, we all agree, they're behaving in a business-like fashion here. And at the same time, if they were to turn around tomorrow, well, if they were to turn around tomorrow and do something that was just good for their members and, wasn't fair and wasn't business-like, we'd have to say they're doing the best they can. It's a tough road to hoe for them.
Right. Charles Payne, what do you make of that? Because I just think unions generally do read from the same script, and I think that that a message, do as we say, do as we. I don't know. I get different vibes.
I agree with you 1,000%. Here's the problem for the UAW. In the last 2 years, 6 major auto company plants have been located in Mexico. And most recently, one was in a right-to-work state in South Carolina. The UAW has succumbed to the nature of free markets. They've had no choice, and they would do this. They would do the SEIU thing, and they did it for years. They bankrupted the auto industry, but now they absolutely have zero choice. It's called survival. They haven't changed their stripes.
When we come back, we got Forbes on Fox coming after the show. David Asman is ready. Dave, what's on deck?
Hi, Neil. Making a lot of money in America is like winning the lottery. The president's suggesting it, but isn't it called living the American dream? Plus, more millennials are dropping out of college, and that's great news for all of us. We'll explain it, a flip side, at the top of the hour.